Hey friends, what's up? Welcome back to Coffee Thoughts with Tasia. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. It is December 31st, so we are about to ring in the new year, 2026. I cannot believe we are already entering into another year. I hope that this year has been lovely for you. If it's been hard, I feel you. This has been a challenging year, but also a really beautiful one at the same time. And we just see how the Lord is so present in both our challenges, our hardships, and also our joys and triumphs. And so today I'm coming to you specifically to talk to you about why diets feel so appealing this time of year and why they almost always fail. January is such an interesting time of year, to say the least. Everywhere you look, there's a message telling you that it's time to start over. New year, new you, fresh start, reset, clean slate. And when it comes to food in our bodies, January can feel especially loud. Diet culture is everywhere right now in challenges, resolutions, detoxes. I have even seen people promoting these magic weight loss supplements, but I hate to spoil it for y'all. These are very expensive supplements, are just glorified fat burners that we had in the early 2000s, and I have been on those, and I promise you they don't work. We're also bombarded with subtle and loud messages that say, this is the year you're finally gonna fix your body. And I wanna say this clearly before we go any further, that setting goals and wanting growth is not a bad thing. I love that. Caring for yourself is good. Wanting change is good. You guys know that I'm not anti-weight loss. I'm not anti-body composition goals. But if dieting and control around food have been part of your life for a long time, and especially if you feel exhausted, frustrated, or stuck, it's worth pausing and asking why January diets feel so appealing and why they so often don't bring the peace we're hoping for. January diets don't come out of nowhere. They often show up right after a season of where routines were disrupted, holidays, travel, more food, less structure, more emotions. And when things feel messy and uncertain, control feels so good and so comforting. Diet culture promises you the things you are desperately searching for: structure, certainty, a sense of getting back on track, relief from guilt or discomfort. So it makes sense that after a season of indulgence or rest, your brain says, okay, now is the time we need to rein it in. For a lot of women, dieting and restriction has become a default coping mechanism, not because we're weak, but because it's familiar. And for some of you, this has been your rhythm for years. In January, we hit it hard, all the diets just to fall off and yo-yo back and forth. So let me ask you something gently. When was the last time you weren't trying to change the shape or size of your body? 1 year ago? 5 years ago? 10 years ago? Since childhood? How much time, energy, and mental space have you invested into changing your body? Diet culture tells us that the answer is to simply try harder, more discipline, more rules, more control. But if that actually worked, you wouldn't still feel exhausted by food in your body. You would have achieved this peace that you were promised and would not need another diet. Because if the diet actually worked, you wouldn't have to keep going back to it. Here's the part no one talks about. Most January diets fail, not because you have lack of willpower, but because restriction creates disconnection. When you rely on rules instead of trust, your body eventually pushes back. We know that restriction increases food obsession, cravings, guilt and shame, the binge restrict cycle, and disconnection from your body and its God-given cues. And the more you disconnect from your body's cues, things like hunger, fullness, satisfaction, the harder it becomes to feel at peace around food, which makes so much sense. If I don't know clearly when I'm hungry and full, then I need to rely on something like macros to tell me. Over time, dieting teaches you can't trust yourself. Your body is the problem. Control equals safety. And spiritually, this can actually create even more tension because control sounds responsible, and it's often rooted in fear. Fear of weight gain, fear of judgment, fear of not being worthy, and fear is a heavy place to build a life from. So when a diet eventually feels unsustainable, because it is, the shame comes back. And then January rolls around again, same promise, same hope, same disappointment. So, I've got a few questions for you to ask yourself this January. Instead of immediately saying, what diet should I go on or how am I going to fix my body? I want to invite you to ask a different kind of question. What does it actually mean to steward my body well? Because when we hear the word stewardship, we tend to think do the absolute best thing possible at all times, eat perfectly, move perfectly, never mess up. But biblically, stewardship has never been about perfection. It's about faithfulness to what God has actually given you, your resources, your finances, your capacity in the season of life you're in. Stewardship isn't about controlling your body into submission. It's about care. It's about listening. It's about responding with wisdom and compassion, not punishment. So before you commit to another plan or set of rules, maybe pause and ask, where is this goal coming from? Is it rooted in peace or pressure? Is it rooted in trust or fear? Is it rooted in care or control? Will this choice help me build trust with food in my body? Or will it quietly pull me further away from it? If dieting and control haven't brought you the peace after all of these years, maybe the answer isn't another reset. Maybe it's time to try something totally different. Think about it. What if instead of starting another diet, you reconnected with your body? What if you learned how to listen to your hunger and fullness cues, eat without guilt or shame, approach yourself with compassion instead of harsh criticism, and bring God into the process? He is the healer himself. Because the way you feel about food in your body can feel permanent, but it's not. Complete shifts do happen, but they don't come from quick fixes. They come from new ways of thinking, gentle, consistent practice, patience, support, and inviting God into the process of renewal. Healing isn't about arriving somewhere. It's about rebuilding trust with your body, with food, and with yourself. If January diets have left you feeling discouraged, if food takes up too much of your mental space, if you're tired of cycling through control and shame, I want you to know there's another way, and you don't have to do this alone. This January, instead of another resolution, what would it look like to choose healing? To build a relationship with food and your body that reflects the freedom God actually desires for you. If that is something you're hoping for, consider what it would look like to do something different. And most importantly, pray about it. This is why I created Wonderfully Made, because I've seen how much women carry around food in their bodies. The pressure, the fear, the constant mental noise. I have experienced it myself, and having food freedom and peace with my body, it is literally life-changing. I have never met someone who has regretted the journey. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The process of healing your relationship with food in your body is hard. Dieting is easy. Follow rules, check boxes, and then fall off into a spiral. But uprooting old patterns and behaviors, that's hard work. Looking at the reasons why you might restrict or overeat, that's hard work. But it is work that is so worth it. If this is something you are interested in, I have an application in the show notes for you, or you can book a call directly with me there too. The next Wonderfully Made group starts in just about 2 weeks. I'm so excited to walk another group of ladies through the program. I hope that this episode has encouraged you and reminded you as we head into this new year to not fall prey to quick fixes or intense resolutions and restrictions, to really set goals and intentions with God at the center, and also from a place of peace and joy and wanting to steward your body well. All right, guys, I'll talk to you on the next episode.